Hello everybody and welcome back to Factory Town. As always, I am Dor, and today we're going to go ahead and hopefully finish off the levels. So we only need 25 of each of these spell books to go ahead and complete the level. So in order to go ahead and get those going, we need to go ahead and open up our research thing and unlock these guys. All of the Tome 1 specific things for the elements here. So we need to do the fire one, we need to go ahead and do the water one, and we're going to need to go ahead and do the earth and the air as well, and that's going to go ahead and allow us to go ahead and begin production of these guys eventually here. So for each one of these we need the crystal specific to it, to the side of it, so we need to go ahead and set up a little line for each of these little crystals here. So we're going to need these guys, which are the air stones, the little yellow colored stone bits. We're going to need those mixing with the mana crystals that we can go ahead and produce. And from what I can tell, we got pretty lucky with the mana shards. They're kind of right next to all of these main crystals here. So we're just going to go ahead and reset up a line on every one of these. So we're going to need this thing turning into the mana crystals that we have. So we need a auto miner on this, and then we're going to have it going into one of the other buildings here. So let's have this guy right about here probably. That should work. We're going to have that going into another building. I need to quickly jump on over to our other mana shard maker and see what we have that set up as. So we need to go ahead and feed it lumber to go ahead and heat it, and then we just need it going into a magic forge. And do we need anything else going in there? We don't. We just need the crystals, and the mana shard comes out the other side. So that's a pretty simple thing to set up. If we jump back over here, we can go ahead and throw down the mana thing. We're actually going to have maybe, or no, we're going to do 1-to-1 because we don't really need that many crystals coming out of this thing, so it's not really worth having a ton of these things producing the crystals for us. So we'll just go ahead and throw a mana forge here. So right over here should work. We don't need it that far away. We just need it somewhere like that should work, and we can just conveyor in between the two of these. Unless we can get away with using a chute, but it really doesn't matter. We have the conveyor belts for this, so we might as well just use these, and that should go right into the building. Actually, we need to set the recipe first before it lets us do anything. So we need you, and is that going in? It is going in. Sweet. And then next to the mine here, we got a little thing of lumber, so we might as well just plug in a forestry next to this to go ahead and feed this the lumber that we need for it to run. Something like that should work, and then we can go ahead and also just run that in with a conveyor as well, so that we just don't really need any chutes here. I think the conveyor belts also move things a little bit quicker as well. Now that we have the mana crystals being produced, we need to go ahead and have those get combined in a elemental refinery, so this guy here, and we're just going to go ahead and drop that off somewhere over here, and we'll go ahead and just run a conveyor belt. That's not really that big of a deal. And let's see, we need you making the air crystals. That's what's over here in the area. So we're going to take 4 of the air stones and 1 of the mana crystals, combine those together, and we get 4 of the little water bottle version of the thing. And then we take that and we deposit that into this building with another crystal, and it produces the air shard itself. So we're only going to do 1-to-1 here as well, because we only need 25 of these books, and it's 1 crystal per book. Oh, it's 2 crystals per book. Yeah, we'll still only run 1. It's going to take a little while, but we only need 25, so I'm not too worried about it. But let's see, we need to go ahead and run a conveyor over to this building. I want to kind of make it level with it so that we can hopefully just connect right into it and not have any issues here. So is that going to work? I think it's going to work, yeah. And then one of the things I want to try and do on this little line here is re-enchant the depleted mana crystals. So if you remember on last level, we had these mana tents, these little enchanter things here, and they went through like a little conveyor belt thing, and then they threw the crystal back into the tent. And then we ended up just deleting all of those because it was causing a backlog with the crystal line that we had set up on the last map. So I think we can go ahead and reenchant it with these guys here. So where is that at? Over here. So the mana receiver, the mana recharger, and then the mana transmitter. So I don't think we need these 2 things in particular, but we do need this guy here. So it says it can restore a depleted mana crystal back to a fully charged state. So I think if we go ahead and connect that building in with one of these guys, it should hopefully keep the crystals in circulation and go ahead and charge up over and over again. So we're going to go ahead and give that a go. If we go ahead and plop this thing down over here, so let's go on this side of the building since it's flat. And does it matter where this goes? I don't think it does, but we'll go ahead and place that there. And how do I get you to charge things up? You just need a depleted crystal and then 6 hammers to go ahead and charge it back to full. Is that really it? I don't need to plug this into some sort of a power system or some sort of like mana pool power thing? I guess not. That's good, I guess. So let's go ahead and just connect this in with some conveyors then and see if that's going to work. So we're going to need this thing pulling out the depleted stuff. Or yeah, we'll do it like that. And then we can go ahead and throw some more conveyors down. We'll go this way to the right, and we'll just have this back into this conveyor belt here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I need you going into the machine, so that should work. And then we can throw a grabber on this thing to go ahead and pull from the re-enchanter. And hopefully that works, and we don't need to plug any more things into this. I could have sworn there was like a mana pipe or something plugged into this building, or this little recharger thing on the last map. So this might work, this might not work at all. So I guess we'll see. And then we're going to need the finished product, which is the little vial of stuff coming out of this and going into the main little pyramid over here. So let's go ahead and have that getting pulled out and going into this. And does this output anything other than those crystals? It does not. Okay, so we are going to probably want to go ahead and upgrade the workers in this place to maximum. We'll go ahead and increase the workers here as well. We'll probably run multiple conveyors out of this thing as well to go ahead and feed this building faster. And we'll leave this thing alone for right now. We'll probably have to increase the workers in this, but at the moment we don't. And we'll see how this works out. We are going to want a splitter over here to go ahead and feed this building the crystals it needs as well. That should start feeding this building the crystals that it needs, which it's not going to process anything because we don't have this stuff coming out just yet. Let me fix the splitter here, and then we can go ahead and throw another mining unit down on the shard stuff, the air stuff. And for right now, we're just going to go ahead and plug into this one here. There's not a whole lot, or I guess there is a whole lot here. Each one of these little nodes is like 500 a piece. So if we throw one of the mining units down here, that's going to go ahead and feed the building all the airstone stuff that it actually needs, hopefully here. So let's run a conveyor belt over to this place. And we do that. Can we just drag and drop a conveyor belt? Is it going to auto fill in what it needs to fill in? It is indeed. Sweet. We can be a little lazy there. Sweet. So that's going to go ahead and start feeding this. And then we need to go ahead and get the finished product out of this thing into a enchanter, I think, right? To go ahead and make the books. It is indeed an enchanter, so we need to go ahead and take the finished product, which is going to be this stuff, going into, for right now, we will go ahead and just throw down a barn because at least we have storage capacity in this. So we'll throw it down on the backside here. And then we will go ahead and feed it with the conveyor belt to go ahead and store up a bunch of the air crystals, or the air shards. And then we have the enchanted books just over here in this marketplace being produced going into this barn. So all we need to go ahead and do is have a conveyor belt from here and from here connecting into an enchanted building, and we can go ahead and finish off the books right now for the air shard stuff. So that's not that big of an issue. Let's go ahead and throw down one of those guys. And I think we might have to kind of bounce between these guys and remove and replace them over and over again because we don't really have a whole lot of these yellow stones, the mana bricks. So that might come to be an issue if we start making these guys a little more frequently. Oh, you know what? I don't even have that book as a recipe yet. So we have the crystals being produced. We have the books. Why don't I have these as an option yet? Let me see my my recipe book. Oh, never mind. I figured it out. We don't need this building. We need the mage tower. So let's go ahead and delete that guy. We need the mage tower, not the enchanter at the moment. The enchanter is for the spell books. We need the tomes to go ahead and research. So we can go ahead and plop the mage tower there. We can go ahead and set the recipe as the air one. So this guy here. So then we need the stuff from this barn and the other barn going into that mage tower now. So let's go ahead and just run a conveyor belt like this. That's going to go right into it. We don't need to do anything with it. And then we can also run one from this conveyor belt, or this this barn as well. So let's go ahead and do something like that. Do we not have enough? We probably don't have enough. Let me go ahead and do that. And then can we wiggle our way over? We can indeed. Sweet. So that's going to go ahead and take the enchanted books. That's going to take the air shards. They're going to combine in this building here. Actually, nope. I did it wrong again. We are now producing the air knowledge tomes that we need to go ahead and get these research points here. So we need each one of these ones before we can progress any further. I totally spaced on that. But if we open up our booklet here, we need at least 250 of each one of these points. So we can either drag our feet and get 250 books to go ahead and research this because it's a 1-to-1 with the book that we have right now. Or we can go ahead and just buy into the tier 2 book, which gives us a 10-to-1. Which is, never mind, we can't do that either. We need 25 points before we can even do that. So I think that's the route we're going to take. So now we need the books out of this thing going into a boat, probably, is the quickest way back to the school over here. And we can go ahead and do that really quick if we set up a barn over here. So let's plop that. Where's the school at? The school's right here. Let's plop a barn over here. And then if we run a conveyor belt out of the water into that, so something like that should work. We need a little stepping stool up. And then if we run a conveyor belt, I was already on the screen. I totally spaced on that. Let me run that into the back of the building like so. And then we can go ahead and throw down, oh, actually, no. We can just have a barn, right? A barn on the water. And then we can have just a cart or something grabbing the stuff and taking it to the school. Instead of doing this little thing, because then we'd have a crate here, and then the thing would backlog eventually. Okay, so hopefully this is going to work. We just need the conveyor belt on this side of the thing to go ahead and run down to the water. So we have the mage tower there. We have a barn already here because we have the fish coming in. So if we run a conveyor belt into another barn next to this barn, we should. Actually, do we want to do that? I don't even know anymore. We'll just go ahead and do it. We can go ahead and run a conveyor belt out of this building as well. And we can go ahead and plop a barn down like so. And then we would need a conveyor belt coming over the ridge here. So if we can go like that, that should work. And then we can just run a conveyor belt directly to it. So we need a conveyor belt coming out of the mage tower, going that way, and then coming down, and then going a little to the right here. And then from there, we can work our way down into this section here. So I can't wiggle it any more than that. What if I delete this and then replace it over here directly into the barn like so? That'll go ahead and supply the barn with the books that we need to go ahead and research. So let's throw a grabber onto this. That's going to start pulling them out. And then once we get 25 of these, we can go ahead and research the tier 2 book. And then we'll go ahead and get the rest of the research done like that. But let's go ahead and throw down the boats over here. So we need a cargo ship just for the sake of moving things around fast. And it's going to be taking the air tomes and picking up from here, dropping them off in this one here. And then we can go ahead and throw down a caravan, grabbing these guys. So that can go from here and over to the school, which is this guy here, I believe, right? That should be the school. So where's our cargo boat? It's coming in with 10 of them, I think. 14 of them, actually. And our cargo guy picked it up, or our caravan guy picked it up, no issue. So we should have 14 of these research points here in just a second. And there they are indeed. Cool. So all we need is 11 more of these points, and we can go ahead and research the tier 2 tomes. I also went ahead and changed some stuff here in between episodes. I have a ton of the houses down now. We have a capacity of 500 workers. We have 60 of the houses down, so that's why there's so many houses. I also kind of built over this river here just in case we had enough houses to go ahead and fill in the area. I kind of wanted the radius of the schools and the markets and stuff to have as many houses in them as possible. So like we're kind of wasting space here by having the farms and stuff in the radius, but it's whatever at this point. We don't really have that many houses to worry about anyways, so we're kind of okay at the moment. We're just gonna wait until we're done with these books. But let me go ahead and start working on one of the other tome things here, because we have one on each corner of the map. So I'm going to probably set up the water one right here, since they're both right next to each other. That's very, very quick and very simple for us to go ahead and get in motion. And then once we're done with these ones, I'm going to go ahead and enable the tier 2 ones. But let me go ahead and set this line up really quick, and then we can come back and research the tier 2 ones and start producing those as well. So I went ahead and disabled the tier 1 books already so that we don't have them building up over here. So let's go ahead and unlock tier 2 so that we can go ahead and enable that in the mage tower over there and start producing those as well. So if we jump back over here, we can go ahead and change the filter on this guy to the secondary tome. So that's going to be the new filter on that. We need to go ahead and also set it on the caravan before I forget. But we can also set this thing to go ahead and start producing them now. So we still need the little vial of stuff coming in to make the tier 1 books, and then we're going to need the crystal coming in to produce the tier 2 books as well. We might want to go ahead and have double the buildings producing the little flasks instead of just a single one, because I don't know if that's actually going to be able to keep up with what we need it to be doing. Why is this not outputting? It is full of the crystals. That is why it's not outputting. Okay, maybe we don't do the little recharge thing, and maybe we just burn the crystals off instead. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and delete this. We're going to delete it on the other one that I went ahead and set up as well, because this is not something that I want to have to deal with as we get things up and rolling here. So that can get deleted. We need one of the void buildings here. So what was that thing called? Void obelisk. It's going to take 100 of these stones, which we don't really have a whole ton of, but that's going to at least allow us to go ahead and start producing these things again. So now we can go ahead and throw down a splitter. We're going to throw the splitter down right here, because even with one of these routes disabled, it still tries to push things that way every now and again. So just to kind of avoid us having the little flasks on the wrong conveyor belt here, we're just going to go ahead and place it there. That should kind of sort us out a little bit here. But if we go ahead and run a conveyor belt here and then over to the left, we will have the void crystals or the air crystals being produced again. So that'll go ahead and square that away. Hopefully with this thing fully staffed at 5, it's able to keep up with the amount of stuff that it needs to be producing. If not, we can also throw the steam booster in there to kind of boost the stats here a little bit. We can also increase these guys. I never did that, but there we go. We have 10 of those guys working now. We're going to have a ton of the air stones coming through. Did I do the mana crystal one as well? We have 5 people in there. We don't have 10 people in here. Let's do that. We have the lumber already maxed out. So hopefully with everything maxed out here, we should be good. Let's also throw 5 people in there. We can't change that. That's not a workable building. But there we go. We have 10 of the tier 2 books already waiting for us. Let's go ahead and throw down the grabber again to go and pull these out. And then those are going to go ahead and feed into the barn just like the last ones did. That's already set up as a tier 2 filter on the boats. Let's go ahead and change this filter as well to a tier 2, and that should go ahead and square the tomes away. And then what was it that we needed? 250 points to go ahead and unlock the power stuff. It is indeed. Okay, so we have the nature research points done. We don't need any more of those. We're going to be pretty good on that. We just need 250 of each one of these. So in a few minutes, we should have the air one done at least. And then we can go ahead and take a stab at the other ones as well. So I already went ahead and set up the water one. So we're going to go ahead and delete this, because we kind of saw that it doesn't keep up and it kind of just starts backlogging. And so let's throw down one of the void obelisks here. We are going to need to kind of wait until we regenerate the mana bricks here, because we only have enough for that one. We don't have enough for a third one to place down on another one of these crystal types. But we need to go ahead and finish off this line as well. So we need the little flasks going into a mage tower, which we don't have down yet. And I'm kind of debating how we want to do this, because we can also produce the enchanted books here in this trading post. If we want to go ahead and set up a berry farm, which is grapes or berries and sugar, we can go ahead and set that up, but it's kind of not really something I want to do at the moment. So if we just run the enchanted books from this barn over here down into a boat, we might be able to go ahead and just deal with it like that. So if we have this guy terminating into another boat, why is this not producing the enchanted books anymore? Oh, I completely disabled the fish oil completely for some reason. I don't know why I did that. I guess I might have disabled it for the healing potions, I'm guessing is why I did that. But we don't need the healing potions anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete these conveyor belts and then rerun them really quick with the correct filters and stuff on them so that we can go ahead and start producing the enchanted books again. Okay, we have the enchanted books squared away again. I just realized it, but we don't need this line running anymore because we just hit 370 points, so we can disable this and then also disable the building in its entirety as well because we don't need any more of the air crystal stuff. So that line is pretty much done. If we want to go ahead and save time here, we could actually just run the stuff over here into a barn and then conveyor it up over into the mage tower and then just change the filters around on the stuff that we have going right now, and we can complete the other ones as well, which I think is what we're gonna do, to be honest here. So let's very quickly unlock this thing over here. So we just did the air one. That's that done. Now we have the spell book available. If we plop down one of the enchanters again to see the recipe, unless we need these books, in which case I'll go ahead and keep producing them, but I don't think we do. So we're gonna need the enchanted book and 2 of the air crystals, but we can go ahead and re-enchant the air crystal, I think, by putting it into the enchanter thing instead of destroying these. So I don't think we have any of these right now in our inventory, so I have to kind of re-enable some of the little things I just disabled over there, but we can go ahead and get these guys up and running as well. So let me clear this really quick before I start running anything else, and I'm going to have these guys go right into a barn so that we can go ahead and start delivering these things over there with the enchanted books we already have down. So let's just go ahead and do that. Run a conveyor belt between these 2 guys here. We need you bringing out that stuff going into there. We can go ahead and run a boat from here. And let's see, how do we want to do this? We can just have it terminate somewhere right here on the beach. We can just run a little thing of land here, and then we can drop a barn down and then another barn here for right now. We'll probably end up running the other ingredients over here as well at some point, so we might as well just get a barn down and ready for it. But we can go ahead and throw down one of the cargo ships. We will go ahead and have that filtering for the blue bottle. There we go, grabbing from here, dropping off over in this guy for right now. And then all we got to do is run a conveyor from here to there, which shouldn't be too hard to do, I don't think. So if we have this right there, that's going to be high enough off of the conveyor belt on the bottom so that we're not interrupting the feed from the enchanted books. And then we can just drag this back across. And we're going to need this to go up and over this stuff here because we can't go through the bottom of it. Never mind, we had a little space gap right here. We can go ahead and run a conveyor down that little section there. We need to go ahead and clear some of these trees because they're kind of in the way right now. So we go to tools, we go to remove resource, we can go ahead and just clear some trees like that. And then we will need this connecting into this little scaffold that we set up so far. So if we drag this back over here and kind of line it up with a warehouse down there, that should be in line, I believe. So if we run a conveyor belt out of this, and it should connect into this, cool. So let's drop it there, and then we can go ahead and start dragging this around to where we need it to go to. So that should be all we have to do for this line as well. That's going to go ahead and start producing these ones. Where did they go? The mana books, tier 1s. We don't need these guys at the moment, so those can get disabled. And then let's see, what else can get disabled at the moment? This thing can get disabled completely for right now because we need to go ahead and start stockpiling these guys. We don't need the splitter here anymore because we don't need those going to the building anymore. We can go ahead and re-enable this building to go ahead and start producing the little flasks again, so we can go ahead and start making the air crystals. And I think, honestly, once we get the 200 that we can store in this barn, I don't think we're gonna actually need to recharge the crystals in the other setups. So we'll probably just have them going into a barn. Since these guys are expensive, we'll just go ahead and have them storing in a barn and then probably just delete the barn and replace it to clear its inventory. But anyways, there we go. We have a bunch of the water crystals over here, so we need these guys being produced for those. We also have a bunch of those backlogged right now, which I guess for right now we'll go ahead and just kind of leave alone. But let's go ahead and throw down a grabber here. We need you filtering for these guys. We then need the filter on this one to change to the correct one, which is going to be that guy there. And then same thing with the guy over here on the end of the line. So the caravan can go ahead and get changed to the water tome. And then we just wait until we get to 25, which should happen kind of quick because there's going to be a ton of books like there is right now, and then this guy's going to bring a bunch, this guy's going to go and research a bunch, and we should have that 25 in just a second here. We can now go ahead and do the tier 2 book, so let's go ahead and unlock that guy. and that's going to allow us to get the 10-to-1 book from the Mage Tower as well. So now that we have the tier 2 book research, we need the crystals coming out of this temple over here. So we need the crystals and the powder stuff going over here right now. I'm going to go ahead and stop the boat from taking the stuff over to this warehouse because I think we have plenty of that stuff backlogged over here now that we don't need this necessarily getting any more of that stuff. So we're just going to have this guy hang out over here for right now. And then we need this thing and this thing being brought over to this building here. So if we very quickly build out a little bit of land here so that we can go ahead and place down 2 barns to go ahead and store the flasks and the crystals themselves. This should be good, right? We need one for the flasks, one for the crystals, and then we need another one for the finished product, which is going to be coming out of this building here. And we can go ahead and just run some conveyor belts in between all this stuff. We don't need it to be separated anyway, so that should work. So then we need the mana crystals also being brought over. So if we run a splitter between these guys here, something like that should work. We can run another conveyor belt off to the side of this one and just run it on over to the coast. We can run a barn off the side of this as well, and then we can go ahead and just have another boat delivering this stuff to the building over there. So let's run a barn. If I can close that, there we go. Drop that there, and we can have a boat bringing that stuff over to this place as well. So we will have you grabbing, what are we having? Crystals here, right? Mana crystals, grab from here, drop it off on the right one because we have the flasks in the left one. And then we need one more boat. Hopefully we can grab from here even though it's on the coast. I hope that's going to be fine. I didn't place the boat down. There we go. Let's grab the finished product, which is going to be the little blue ball. So that guy there. Can you grab from here and drop off in this guy over here, or is that not gonna work? That is gonna work, I think. It's just waiting for the crystals to show up in the warehouse. So any minute now that should have some, and there we go. So it's off to go ahead and deliver in the other barn. So now we have the tier 2 books about to be being produced. So I just ran a conveyor belt from the barn down there over to the Mage Tower. So we have the tier 2 tomes already being produced. We're up to 100 points already. We just need 250, I believe it was. And then we are done with the water stuff. So really quickly here, as this is being done, I'm going to go ahead and quickly research the other, or set up the other lines here. So the fire one and the earth one. We're going to go ahead and research those off camera here, and we're also going to do the firepower stuff off camera as well, so we can go ahead and start producing the spell books here and finish off the levels. So let me go ahead and finish off these last couple researches, and I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so we have all of the research done. All we have left to do is to make the 25 spell books of each of these, and what I went ahead and did was I set up a couple barns over here to go ahead and store the crystals. So I think we should be good with the fire and the earth crystals. We need another 25 of the water ones. I think we only need 50 of these because it's a 2-to-1 for the spell books, and we only need the 25 books, so we shouldn't need that many in storage over there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is delete the Mage Tower because we don't need anything else coming out of this building. We can go ahead and clean up a couple of the conveyor belts as well. We'll probably end up scooting this back over to this point here, and what we'll end up doing is probably setting this up all in one go to go ahead and research, or to create all of the spell books in one go here. So in order to do that, we need to go ahead and have these go into a enchantment building, I believe is what it was, where I went ahead and placed that down incorrectly last time. So just to double check, we do indeed need the enchanted book and the crystals to go into this. So we can go ahead and run conveyors from the barns to enchanters. And can I do multiple books per thing, or is it only a 1 book per building thing? Let me see. Can I do that? That I can indeed. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and place that. Let me go ahead and scoot it just a little bit here to be probably about right here-ish. And then we'll go ahead and run the conveyor belt into it with the enchanted books. So that should work. We should have the books coming in, and we do indeed. Let me go ahead and crank the workers to maximum. And we need to run conveyor belts from these buildings over to this one now. And we also need to run one from this barn over here into this. So let's just go ahead and drag and drop these things because it's going to let us do that. So that's the air crystal done. We need to run some scaffolding off of these buildings because we don't have any flooring underneath them. So we need to also place one there, and we can place one right there. Now it should let us just drag and drop from these. So if we do this over to that, it's going to automatically be pulling the stuff out of this building, which I don't want it to be doing. So there we go. Let me go ahead and place a grabber here on this building like that. And now we should be able to go ahead and just run the rest of the conveyor belts here over to the building. So something like that should work. And something, oh, we are hitting the conveyor on the bottom there. Let me fix that by building out some more scaffolding, I guess. And then we can go ahead and run the conveyor belts, and it should drop down pretty good. That should work. We need one more scaffolding here, and then we can complete the end of the conveyor belt line like that. And now we should have all of the books being produced in this building. How much is the storage capacity in this place? Can I close that? We can. I'm guessing it's going to be 20 because we're already at 16 on the depleted air crystals, and it's not going anymore, or it's still going. So yeah, maybe 20 is the limit. I think that's usually what the capacity is on buildings normally. So let's go ahead and set up some conveyors out of the building here to go ahead and pull the depleted crystals out of this. That's all we need to go ahead and pull. We don't need to pull, oh, I guess we're gonna also need to pull the books too, but for starters we need at least 4 conveyors pulling the depleted crystals. So let me go ahead and place those. Something like that should work. I don't know why those ones went wonky. I didn't move the cursor like that, but okay. So then we can have all of these converge into one conveyor belt to go ahead and save some resources here, which we really don't need to do, but it's going to save us in the long run to just go ahead and have all of these go into the same trash can. So that should work. And then if we go ahead and set the filters on the depleted crystals, we can go ahead and have them getting pulled out and dropped into the void obelisk here. So that's the last one we need. We can go ahead and place one of these guys over here like that, and that's going to let this thing keep running. And the capacity apparently is only 10, so we do need to go ahead and have these books getting pulled out of the enchanter here. So how do we do that? We can go ahead and just run a belt above these ones. So if we run the slanted version, we can go ahead and do this. I believe it should allow us to go ahead and pull from that. We can also just run one right there, and then we will need these going into a barn for right now for the sake of just holding on to these things. So let's go ahead and build this out a little bit. I placed that in the wrong spot. Okay, there we go. We just need to go ahead and throw the filters on the conveyor belts here, and that's going to go ahead and complete the end of the levels. So let's go ahead and throw that on there, throw the earth one on there, and that's going to fill up the barn here. And again, we only need 25 of these books, and so we are halfway there just about, and we should have this level done in any minute now. So let's go ahead and just boost this thing as well. We are finishing the level, so there's no point in holding on to these coins anymore, and that's going to make this thing move really, really quickly. I think it adds 5 more workers to the building, if I'm understanding that correctly. But it's also draining the blue coins every second here. So I think we are producing enough of these blue coins to kind of offset that. I think I was also producing enough of these coins to offset the other stuff too. I was just kind of worried that I'd blow through my money before I could build the things I needed to build. But anyways, we are just about to complete the level, and I think we just did there. We did indeed. So let's go ahead and complete the level with that. And I think that's the end of chapter 6. And it was indeed. So I think for today, that's going to go ahead and be the end of today's episode. So hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.